How's it going, everybody? Chad Lee here, and today we have the update to our Danger Close Moze build. If you guys are not aware, this is a build we made back at the start of Mayhem 2.0, featuring the Mindsweeper class mod, kind of built around that. And now with some recent changes, especially to Iron Bear, this build is stronger than ever. You are going to just be tearing through bosses in just a couple shots. Hopefully you guys saw what I'm talking about in the opening clips, but first off, we're going to just start here on our gear. And with all this gear, if you guys need help getting this, if you're on consoles, go ahead and go down into the description, join that Discord, and hit up the trading sections. Also, if you guys are on PC, there will be a save file in the description of this video and also on our Discord, so definitely go check those out. But coming in at our first weapon, I like to use the proprietary license. Now, ideally, I would like to have a shock with 125 incendiary on it, but this one is definitely not a bad alternative. And this thing is really good for just kind of like trash health and shield enemies, and this thing's just gonna ricochet around to all sorts of enemies. And then obviously the stickies are splash, so you're gonna get a bunch of bonuses from this, and it's just overall a really good weapon with Moze. Now, this thing does shoot a little bit too quick and has too small of a mag size to be able to sustain completely, so you will have to reload every once in a while with this thing. But if you're throwing grenades, you'll have no issue just killing basically everything. And then coming in at our second weapon, I like to use the beacon. This is a really good single target damaging weapon, and basically it's a health shock that also has a nova when you reload. Basically all it is, and you guys saw what it did to Grave Ward at the opening bit, and it's not even a really good one. I had bonus shock on this thing, and it still killed Grave Ward that fast. So if you guys get like a 125 incendiary, you'll have no issues just melting through some health targets and basically anything that you can crit. And then probably the best weapon for this build is going to be the flipper. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about this SMG right now, and you can shoot this thing infinitely. It has a big enough mag size, and especially if you're just hitting crits occasionally, which you obviously should be going for since we're using a Minesweeper, and then throwing grenades, you'll have absolutely no issues sustaining this magazine, and you can shoot forever, keep that consecutive hits up and that max pellet count with the flipper, and overall this thing just absolutely wrecks. And in some cases I will use it over the license in mobbing sections just because it's super easy to hit things as it's such a big spread of pellets. And then finally, I like to use a Plague Bearer. This is probably one of Moze's strongest weapons in the entire game right now. And I like to just have a elemental one, depending on what I'm doing. I like to have a radiation for kind of the Malawan takedown type stuff, where there's shield and health enemies. And then for the Guardian takedown, I have this Plague Bearer that's shock with bonus corrosive if I can find it. And this one usually works pretty damn well. Obviously, splash damage anointed ones will work very well as well, but I just like to have other elements kind of with this weapon. But this thing for super dense mobbing sections is just an absolute breeze. You can tear through the bridge in the Malawan takedown, and like the crystals in the Guardian takedown are a breeze with the Plague Bearer. Definitely are going to need one of those. And then for our shield, I still like to use the Transformer just because it gives us a little bit more survivability. If you want more damage, just rock an Old God. Those work very well as well. And then Old Gods with more incendiary on it work very well with Moze too, just because of all of her incendiary skills. And then for our grenade, right now I'm just using a Hex until I can find a cloning manding tracker. Either or will do very well. They'll be both really good at proccing Minesweepers for you. The cloning manding tracker is going to be better for healing though, so if you guys want more sustainment, you're going to want to eventually farm a cloning manding tracker, but any sort of Hex right now will do perfectly fine. And then like I said, we're obviously using a Minesweeper. Now, Minesweepers with like 4 toward cross motion are definitely best, because now that is giving us a boost to splash damage. 1 redistribution would be nice in there, but I have fire in the Skag Den. Doesn't really matter too much. You can sustain a lot of ammo. Or if you want to get super crazy, I do have a class mod that is 5 toward cross promotion, and it happened to roll with splash damage radius in there as well. And that is just some insane radius on the Minesweeper nades. So for bosses, I actually throw this one on just so it's super easy for the Minesweeper nades to basically guarantee hit the boss, especially somebody like Grave Ward who kind of bends away from the Minesweeper nades. This thing makes it so much easier to kill those bosses. And then for our artifact, we're going to be using the Pearl. It's still probably the best artifact in the entire game at the moment. Some other weapons that can work very well. The Unkempt Herald does a ton of damage with this build. The Light Show is always really good. You can use other beacons. A Hell Shock works well. Maggies are good. The Pea Shooter is very, very good as well. It can't come anointed, which kind of sucks, but it is something you can use. Kibsworths are in there. Bitches are very good with this build as their high fire rate, and that crit damage is always nice. Hyper Focus still works well. I haven't gotten any level 60 ones yet. Monarchs do incredibly well. Basically anything like that does well. Now, the Complex Root, do not use this gun with this build. You will shoot it and you will kill yourself. The splash damage is so huge, you cannot escape it for the most part. You're going to shoot this thing and you're going to go down. You're probably going to kill the enemies that are in front of you, but you're also going to go down and then have nothing to second wind on. So this build is not for the Complex Root, but anything else is going to work perfectly fine. Now let's go ahead and move on over to our skills. Basically nothing changed except for the 3 additional points we have now at level 60, and the weapons we're going to be using on Iron Bear. So starting off in our green tree, we're going to do 5 Cloud of Lead, 3 Stoke the Embers, 1 Redistribution, 5 Scrappy, 5 Scorching RPMs, 1 Russian Offensive. This is huge for survivability. Just start sprinting if you get low on health. If you hit your health gate, just start sprinting, and most of the time, if you're shooting right before you're sprinting, you're going to get back to full health immediately. Then we're going to go 3 Iron Bank. This is enough magazine size and about all we can really do in terms of skill points in there. And then I like to do 1 point into Specialist Bear now, because as you guys saw at the opening clips, Iron Bear is our main boss killer for sure. If you can crit the boss, you're going to be killing it with Iron Bear. It's basically an insta-kill. And then 1 point Sum for the Road, so we get unlimited ammo coming out of Iron Bear. 3 points into Click Click for that bonus damage as we get lower in the magazine, and 1 point into Forge. And then, like I said, we're using the miniguns with the first augment, let off some steam. It's going to give us more damage on them as well. So that's definitely the best weapons for this build, in my opinion, for Iron Bear. And then we're going to skip the orange tree, so we're not going to be doing anything in here. And then everything else is going to go into our blue tree. We're going to do 5 points into Fire in the Skag Den, 2 points into Grizzled, 3 points into Means to Destruction, 5 points toward Cross Promotion, 5 points Stainless Steel Bear, as this is going to help our Iron Bear, which is super useful, and it also boosts Short Fuse, if you guys were not aware just how it is incorporated with the Short Fuse damage equation. And then 3 points into Pull the Holy Pin, 1 point into Auto Bear. This is huge, especially in the Guardian Takedown. Especially during the crystal parts, you're going to get in and out of Iron Bear off of the crystal, and then all the Guardians will kind of go towards that. And Auto Bear, if it hits a crit and procs Minesweeper nade, it's going to kill something for you, guaranteed. 1 Minesweeper nade kills basically anything that's not like a full-fledged boss, which is crazy, so definitely Auto Bear is a really good skill to have. And then 2 points into Vampire, it's just a little bit more survivability for us. 1 point into To the Last, so we can just keep throwing grenades while we're down, since grenades actually do damage now. And then 1 point into Explosive Punctuation, just for a little bit more cooldown from a different source that just isn't kills. And then 1 point into Short Fuse for the extra damage. The skill is very nice to have. So like I said, not really much changed from our initial Danger Close Moze build, just the 3 extra points in there. And then for our modifiers, we're going to be using Speed Demon, Healy Avenger. You can use Laser Fair or Chain Gang. Doesn't really matter. Chain Gang's probably better right now. Laser Fair seems to unintentionally got stronger from the change to kind of environmental damage and barrels that was implemented with DLC 3. So I don't know if that's going to change, but right now Laser Fair is a little strong and can definitely make your life a little bit tougher. I just haven't re-rolled yet. And then for our very hard buddy system is definitely the best bet. It's really not that big of a burden. You're doing so much splash damage that most of the time the buddy system is just going to die without you even having to like redirect what you're shooting at. Just go ahead and shoot something near the immune enemy and the buddy system on it will just get destroyed, and it's super easy to deal with. So like always, I'm going to run you guys through True Takedown here in the Malamon Takedown. just because it's a little bit easier to see how fast you can be killing some enemies, and the Guardian Takedown is just kind of super slow and tedious, so I really just don't even like running that one that much. But once I get inside the gate, we can show off this build. So we're here at the gate, and right now I just have the beacon out. Probably not the best thing I should have, but right here you can see how much damage Auto Bear is going to do for us. It did kind of self-destruct because it did proc a Mindsweeper super close to it, but it's not really a big deal. And right now we're just going to be using the proprietary license. I don't actually have any bonus elements going right now, which is why it's not doing too well. But once we get a little bit of bonus elements going, we can just start shredding through these enemies and proc tons of Minesweeper grenades. Just keep tapping that trigger and you'll be good to go. So right now I just have the beacon out, and this thing's very good for single target damage, and it's just super easy to use. Basically just a health shock. You guys know all about that weapon. You've definitely used it before. And then definitely probably the easiest weapon to use with this build is the flipper. Now, I just usually keep it on the corrosive side in case for any armored targets, but all you need to do is just hold down left click or your trigger and you're good to go. Now, unfortunately, there are corroder heavies, and that seems to be all there is, so I'm going to switch over to the cryo side of this version, and we're going to tear through basically everybody with absolutely zero issues. Now here, I'm going to hop into Iron Bear and shoot an enemy next to Kraken with the Minesweeper, and it's going to insta-kill literally everything up here except for this one shield guy. So the Iron Bear is 100% your main boss killing weapon for the most part, if you want to call it a weapon. And then the times you can't be an Iron Bear, just pull out the flipper and you'll be good to go. Obviously, just have different elements of the flipper for the bosses you're fighting. And then I'll just get out of Iron Bear and use like the flipper, or the Plague Bear works incredibly well for clearing out these hordes super fast. Normally, I'll just keep the flipper out so I can kill the Valkyries quicker as well. So right now, I believe he's jumping down, so I'm just going to aim up there, start shooting away with the flipper. I don't have any bonus shock going on right now, so that was just purely brute forcing our way through, and we can just get him immune. If we had Iron Bear out right there, he would have basically insta-gone immune if we got a Minesweeper proc. So on Hildeer here, I'm going to show you the Minesweeper with Iron Bear, and it's immune. It's like that. There's really something like you cannot seem to kill in a reasonable amount of time, just pull out Iron Bear and just try to get a crit on it and pray for a Minesweeper, and you're good to go. And here is the Plague Bear. This is why I really like the thing. I don't have any bonus elements. This is just a radiation Plague Bear doing this to these enemies, and it's a little insane. And then once we get to this last kill, we have all of our Valkyries jumping down. So I'm just gonna go for some crits on these guys. Kill, and then kill, and another kill. They're all dead. All you need to do is get crits with Iron Bear and everything will die. So yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this build. If you guys were going to go further, the Malawan Takedown, Plague Bear for the bridge for the easiest time, or the flipper. And then for the Wotan fight, just do a combination of the flipper and Iron Bear, and you guys will have no issues whatsoever. And the Guardian Takedown, just mainly use the flipper and the Plague Bear, and then just using Iron Bear to your advantage on the crystals, and you guys will be set. So yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this build video. Definitely leave a like on it if you enjoyed, and also make sure to hit that subscribe button for more builds and Borderlands content coming here in the very near future. So definitely stay tuned. Let me know if you guys have any questions on the build down in the comments, or head over to our stream right around 7 p.m. Central Time over on Twitch. We stream every night. Happy to answer any questions you guys have about this build or anything else. So yeah, guys, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.